Okay, hello, welcome back. This is the Sunday school lesson. Before we begin, just want to point out that I attempted a live stream on Saturday morning that did not work. I'm almost sure I know what I did wrong, but regardless, I got a chance to play a fun game, but not share it with anyone, so I feel bad about that. So, this lesson, it's from let's see, Matthew 14 and 15, Mark 6 through 7, and John 5 through 6. I think I'm getting in the store. Nope. And it's the lesson for the week is titled "Be Not Afraid," and it's some really great advice. Here's the entrance. So a lot of stuff is happening during Christ's ministry in these chapters, but they pretty much, well, most of it, the "Be Not Afraid" boils down to one incident, and I'll get into that in a second, but first and foremost, I want to talk about how Christ sets a really good example here by honoring his Father. And I think that's a good example for all of us, to honor our parents, even if it's hard to do. And it can be really hard to honor our parents sometimes. Sometimes our parents are really annoying. But more than that, sometimes there's some serious problems and issues with our parents. And we want to basically just jump into the closet, hide from them, ignore them, do whatever. But they are still our parents, and we have to honor them. I'm lucky that showed up just right at the perfect metaphor time. If that was a perfect metaphor. So, lovely artwork here. But yes, to honor our parents. Not just our father, but our mother. And yeah, there are times when we have serious issues and problems with our parents. Well, yeah, I might as well share this story. My father, at one point, I don't have very good luck in relationships, as those of you who have followed this probably are aware. And so at one point, my father, we went out, ate lunch, and so on, and took me aside, and he, asked me about my sexual orientation. Are you homosexual? Is what he asked me. And my response, I responded, I tried to use words that he would understand, but essentially, no. That's not who I am. It's not what I thought this door would open. It's just not who I am. And I calmly and collectively explained that to him, while trying to put it in words so that he can, so that he would understand without sounding too much like I'm just denying it. And he nodded and took it in. Then he started what was obviously a pre-planned speech to me about how, oh, it's okay, I'll still love you type of speech, which I would really greatly appreciate if that was who I am, but it wasn't. That's not who I am. So, it does. It caused a bit of rift between me and my father. I don't know where we go from here, but I still love him, and I still, want to have a relationship with him, but, it's, if I can't even express who I am around him, without him disbelieving me because, well, for whatever reason, then it's gonna make a relationship hard. But, that's no excuse for me. I should still honor him, I should still respect him, I should still love and like him. It's... You might wonder my phrasing on that, but, it's very easy to love someone. It's a lot harder to actually like them. At least I've found that for me. Let me know what you think about that, and we'll speak for ourselves. So regardless, honor your father, honor your mother, and you know what? Honor your siblings. Because siblings get really annoying. Regardless. So we'll move on to the body of the lesson here, which has to do with one incident. So before getting too far into that incident, which involves water, I'm going to say one thing, And this is going to be kind of the post-redemption of the character. Past redemption, however you want to phrase that. But, you know what? I think there are about three different people in the Bible who I think have gotten a really, really bad rap. Peter is one of them. And this story does greatly involve Peter. And, you know, Peter was often, I think it was a very gentle chiding. The Lord would say things to him that would gently chide him, gently encourage him to do better. And I think a lot of people have taken that to mean that Peter, wasn't all that good, and we need to learn a lesson about how Peter wasn't that good and how we should be better than Peter was. I think the truth is quite different. I think Peter was being held to a higher standard than anybody else. And as such, he would do these truly incredible things and would get a gentle chiding from the Lord. Not because he had done anything wrong, but because he could have done better. And I think this is one of those moments, one of these lessons where, you know, Peter probably could have done better. But regardless of whether he could have done better, I certainly couldn't have done, you know, a tenth as well as he did. He did something truly incredible here. And we should remember that. And this, of course, is the story of, the apostles went out in the ship, the Lord stayed on the shore, and after a while it was choppy, it was pretty windy and stuff. They looked out and they saw a figure coming towards them, and, you know, it's like, you know, what would you think? It's like, you know, it would be a Scooby-Doo moment. You think ghosts, you'd think, you wouldn't know what to think. And the Lord said, you know, be calm. It's only me. I'm coming towards you. And they were all amazed by this, but Peter took it a step further. He looked out and he said, you know, can I do that, basically? Now, I want to make this clear. This was not, you know, Hollywood has presented people on walking on water in several of its in several movies that's been presented. The Mummy Returns had the mummy at one point walking on water. But every single time I've seen that in a Hollywood movie, it's... Ooh, I've opened that door. Let's see if I've gone this way. It's been presented as a very calm, very flat sea. This walking on water was very different. It was not calm. It was extremely violent walking on water. It was, you know, it was choppy. There was a lot of, Seems like there should be a door that way. Maybe I'm lost. It was very choppy, very windy. This was not good. You know, if such a thing as good walking on water time, this would probably be one of the worst times. It's like walking on water in the middle of a storm. If you've been out on a boat, you know how choppy it can get. And so, yeah, Christ was walking on probably some really, really choppy, unstable waves. And, you know, if it was completely flat, I think every one of us would be like, wow, that is so incredible. Can I do that? You know, I think every single person would be thinking that and wanting to do that. You know, a few people would be like, would be hesitant, but I think most people would say, you know, can I do that? But since it was so choppy and so out there, yeah, I'll use that term. Just, it's so choppy and so scary at this point. I certainly would not have said, hey, can I do that? I think, you know, I'd be like, are you crazy? How could you do that? Of course, I probably wouldn't say that to Christ, but, you know, that would be my first thought. Peter's reaction was truly, truly incredible. His reaction was, can I do that? Can I come out and do that? Can I try to do this? And he was bidden to come out, and he walked on water. Now, let me express how incredible this actually is. The Bible is, 1,500 pages? Bit more. There are only two people in the entire Bible who walked on water. Christ was one of them, and Peter was the other. So that's pretty incredible that Peter was able to do this. Now, he walks for just a few moments, but then he looks out and he sees how scary it is. It's really choppy, and yeah, I think everybody knows the reaction to that. It's just along the lines of, there's no way I'm actually doing this, is there? I mean, I couldn't be doing this. And I want to make this clear. This was not Peter losing faith in Christ. This was Peter losing faith in himself. It wasn't, along the lines of, well, with Christ all things are possible. It was more along the lines of, Christ can do anything. I'm just a normal guy. I can't do this at all. And his faith in himself faltered, and he began to sink. Now, I think his first reaction, assures us that it wasn't his faith in Christ that faltered, because the first thing he did was he cried out to Christ for help. And Christ reached out and pulled him up. And his response was, "Oh, ye of little faith." And I think, so this is, like I said, this is pretty much all what I think and feel about it. I think that, that it was the gentle chiding from Christ. I know you can be better than this. And perhaps you're not ready yet, but you will be. That's what that statement says to me. It doesn't say, that Peter was faulting in any way. It says Peter is being held to a much higher standard that, on a personal level, I could never be held to. Well, I would never want to be held to, because I know I'm very imperfect, as my attempted live stream went. So, and that's really the body of the entire lesson that we have. So, I should be able to open that door. So we all have kind of purposes, and according to the lesson, they call it humble purposes that we are called to do, whether called of the Lord or of ourselves. We are called to do many things. This door just doesn't want to open. We all have that. We all have a purpose and so on, but if we have faith in the Lord, if we trust in Him, He can magnify our callings, magnify our purposes, and our life we can do so much better with His help than we could just on our own. And so what Christ said to Peter, and ye of little faith, and it's an invitation not just to Peter but to all of us to kind of set aside our fears, our doubts, and just focus all of our faith, all of our trust on Him. And with that, we can just really go out there and accomplish anything. And I think just in Peter's personal life, did I walk around in a circle? Certainly sounds like I look like I walked around in a circle. So in Peter's personal life, he did. He improved, he got better. And I think there are several incidences where he did fall short, but he did so much better than the rest of us can do. And I think with the Lord's help, we can truly, truly magnify ourselves. We can magnify whatever we are called to do, and we can do it far better than we normally could. Yeah, that's pretty much that's the core, I think, of this lesson. So, and so it's hard to do that. we are not always... It's not always easy to accept the Lord, to have faith in the Lord. Sometimes it's downright difficult to have religious faith. And, you know, what do we do? How do we respond to that? And I think if we do, we will be rewarded, but it's not going to be an obvious reward. We aren't going to automatically, we aren't automatically going to get a mansion and all the McNuggets we can eat. That's not going to happen. But if we have faith and if we persevere, we will be blessed. We will get what we need and whenever and however we need it. So, another thing, and this is actually a good example of what I was just saying that's illustrated in the lesson, is the loaves and fishes. So, I think we all know the story of the loaves and fishes, right? A great crowd had come to see Christ, and he spoke to them and talked to them, and so on, and it came dinner time, and nobody really wanted to leave. And, nobody really had any food, and the disciples cast about, and one young boy, I believe, had some loaves and some fishes. And, the disciples, wanted to leave to go. I believe this is when they wanted to go into town and buy some, and Christ said, no, this will suffice. He blessed it, broke it, and fed 5,000 people, which is quite a miracle. But yeah, the people needed this sustenance at that time. And this is an interesting story, because it leads... Ooh. This is a really pretty location, I'm just saying. But because it leads to one of Christ's greatest lessons was when the people came back looking for more food at a later date. Christ said, no, you're not following me for the right reasons. You're only coming after me for food. Which, if you need food to eat, yeah, that's a pretty darn good reason to go someone is, hey, we can get food from him. But he spoke of spiritual food, and he spoke of himself as the bread of life in a very spiritual sense. That we will never be hungry again if we trust in him. We will be fed spiritually fed bread, and we will never starve. And that's one of the things that appears in the scriptures of spiritual starvation is a very big, very important thing in the scriptures. And when it happens, we often don't even realize it. We go on having starved ourselves spiritually and not gotten that sustenance that we need, and we don't even realize it. So anyway, that was my take on this lesson. Like and subscribe if you like it. I will see you in the next video. Bye.